Welcome to Custom Homebuilders Solutions, a web-based software, also known as CHS, a standalone accounting suite focused on job costing and profit management for professional home builders.
Hi, this is Carol King again, the developer of Custom Homebuilders Solutions, also known as CHS. This video will either be for you a continuation about setting up vendors, or it might be the first video when you're looking at videos about 1099s, because we're going to base this on setting up a vendor for 1099s. So let's go back to the place where you set up vendors, which is under Vendors Setup and Info, and then the vendors list and setup, so that we get a list of our vendors. And in our video about setting up vendors, we set up one called Austin Air. So we'll just kind of go down there. We could also do the A's only, but it doesn't make much difference when you're doing the A's. But anyway, and let's click the pencil edit icon to continue talking about setting up this Austin Air. What we will be talking about today is the part in this particular video about the 1099 info for the vendor so that you can print various 1099s for them. Hopefully, before you prepare to do any 1099s, you've received a W-9 form from any new vendors that you need them from, letting you know whether they should get a 1099 or not. And you can click this link right here to go to the IRS website where you can get the W-9 form if you want to go ahead and download it and send it to them via email, etc. So that's a handy way to have those forms. And then when they fill it out and they email it back to you, or you request it, like I'm going to show you here in a minute, that you need their W-9 form, when you receive it back or you want to request a W-9 from them, you can click to upload or view vendor documents. Now what I want to do for this particular vendor is that I don't have a W-9 showing in here, because if I did, it would show open and edit tags. So I want to send a request for their W-9. So I'm going to select which one of these kinds of documents I want them to send me. So I put IRS W-9, and I'm going to prepare a document request that I'm going to send to this Austin Air. So it's already prepared with some information. When they will receive an email that says, this is a request for your latest document for IRS W-9. Please use the reply button, which there'll be a green reply button in the email they receive, where they can go and upload their W-9 and it will be there for us. And they click a thing maybe and send an email back that says they uploaded it. It says then use a reply arrow. It's giving them some instructions. So if I decide to, this is all ready for me to go, and I decide to send it to Austin Air, here's the email, the text of the email that they will get. So I'm going to go ahead and not actually send that, and I'll close this whole comment right now. But if I close that, what I'd like you to see is that if I click comments, and I open vendor comments, I can look for everything referencing this comment, and it shows that there's one comment to and from this particular contact. There's some other stuff up here that will have to do with jobs, etc. But if I click one of these, you'll see that it starts to be in a list of comments where you could email it again to them if they haven't replied. But you will see a reply from them when they send it back to you that would have a paperclip icon because they sent you an attachment. So you start having comments and information that gets stored that you can see forevermore about your communications with this vendor. And a good one is to get that W-9. I moved off of the vendor setup window and came back and played like I just logged into CHS, or if I was already logged in, I just clicked the Launch tab to see what recent comments that I have received. And I have received one from Austin Air Conditioning, saying here is our W-9 form that you required, and it has a hyperlink right here to save attachment as a vendor doc. So if I click that, I will select IRS W-9, and then I'll store the attached vendor doc. and it tells me it does go ahead and store it as an attached vendor doc to Austin Air, and it's asking me if I'd like to open the vendor setup. So let's open it and we'll get back to that screen that we were on. That is the edit vendor and setup vendors. And if I click the upload or view vendor docs, you're going to see that the IRS W-9 form is here, and if I click to open it, I could open, it says Big Buck because actually I don't have one from Austin Air, so I just pretended that I was Austin Air sending one. But if I opened it, I'd see the one that I uploaded from Austin Air, which I won't do because these various things have Social Security numbers on it. But I wanted to show you how quickly I could get that document that I requested from the vendor attached to the vendor so that I could open and look at it whenever I needed to. So let's say, however their W-9 came in, we need to mark them for non-employee compensation 1099, which is a brand new thing in the year 2020. Was printed on 1099 MISC, but it is no longer that. It is now printed on a 1099 NEC. You can click this link and you will go to the latest information that the IRS has about 1099s miscellaneous or 1099s NEC, and they're talking about what's new and the whole NEC, and you should read that. But basically, non-employee compensation is usually what you're sending to your trade contractors, etc., if they're not a corporation. So you want to mark this one as NEC 1099. It's not somebody we're paying rents to. Now, to my old customers, it used to be that you would select miscellaneous here or rents, but now that's all changed by the IRS, and so you would select NEC 1099. And I'd like to let my old customers know that CHS has handled changing out all of that for you behind the scenes, so that anybody that had an MISC will now have an NEC 1099. So you've got that marked, which means you need some tax ID number, and for everybody, I just use this generic one so we don't give away Social Security numbers. Now, what I'd like to talk about before we get back to Balance Forward, and actually Balance Forward will be discussed in a later video about 1099s, is that Austin Air Conditioning is owned by Bob Jones, and he's a sole proprietor. So the IRS likes to have the person's name that goes with this Social Security number on the 1099s. That's why we have a place here, name to print on 1099s. So usually it would be something like this: Bob Jones, DBA, Austin Air Conditioning. And that makes the IRS happy. They can match Bob Jones to the Social Security number, and you won't get some notice in the mail about how they can't find a Bob Jones with that tax ID number, etc. Now, all of these have question marks right here explaining to you what they are and what they're for, and the tax ID number, what that means. It means Social Security number or your employer ID number. It also talks about what this is about, having a name that will print on the 1099s. That's all I wanted to say in the initial setup for 1099s, is just marking what type of 1099 they will be getting. Now, I want to show you something else, but let's go ahead and just save what we did here. And what I'd like to show you is that if you are over on home and you're entering some new payable bills for that particular vendor, they'll just say add new bill. That was reminding me that I had recurring bills. So we'll do our Austin Air Conditioning that we just set up, that we're just demonstrating with. We'll say we're doing a job-related bill for them. All I'd like you to notice is that there's a field here for the 1099. We will be coming back to this window about filling things in. But because I set a default for him on his setup window, 1099 came in to attach to this bill. The reason that this is here for when you're entering bills, perhaps this time you're paying Austin Air Conditioning for something that should not be on a 1099 for whatever reason. You could change this right here to none, because 1099s will be based on the total of invoices paid, total of records like this, that have an NEC 1099 or a rents in them. So I just wanted to show you that real quick as to how it drops in based on what you set up as the default on the vendor setup window for this particular vendor. Now, as far as setting up vendors, I will continue to a next video to talk about other things on the vendor setup window. Or if you're looking at this in the playlist for 1099s, please continue and we'll talk about that balance forward, etc. Thank you so much for watching.